Hey there guys, this is Simon aka Daycona aka Fumley, and I'm here bringing you the second weekly recap for the Loreseekers. Last week was quite the exciting week. We managed to get a lot of things done. I'm not gonna spoil anything for you if you weren't there, so let's take it from the top. Tuesday night was of course our old school raiding night. The destinations for that particular night was Black Temple and Argent. Now it started off a bit slow. We got just about enough members, so we were like 1 or 2 short from getting the guild achievement. But by the time we got to that big ugly orc guy in the basement, we were joined by, I believe, Luyen and later on Trallon. And that pushed us to enough members to get the guild achievement for slaying Illidan. So congrats everyone, and thank you everyone for joining. We can now prove that we have killed Illidan as a guild. Now the second destination was Argent, continuing on our tier 6 rating. It was a very smooth run. We didn't have that many hiccups. There was a slight incident with a certain member driving her or his motorbike over a cliff. Hey, I'm not gonna point any fingers, so Kitty, don't worry, I'm not gonna mention you. Wednesday night, definitely the big night last week. We set out to try and get as many bosses down in Bastion of Twilight, continuing on our recent success the last week, where we actually, against all odds, managed to down Halfus Wormbreaker in just 2 attempts, I think. Or maybe it was more. Yeah, maybe I DC'd a bit. Anyway, we managed to down Halfus Wormbreaker on the very first attempt, even with me going disconnected in the middle of the fight. So we ended up, I guess I should say you guys ended up killing him with just 1 tank. Sadly, however, we did have to bring some puggies with us this time, so we did not get the guild challenge for slaying a raid boss. But that doesn't matter, we managed to get some progress. Our next boss we were up against were none other than Seratharion and Valiona, the boss that we decided to call it quits on last time. And lo and behold, we managed to one-shot those 2 guys. So we're making good progress. We're on the second boss, and hell, we even got some great loot out of it. Third boss, the Twilight Council, was it? I forget its name. It took a few shots. Definitely were a few screw ups before we got it right. But in the end, we managed to down those guys as well. Which means we are now on the final boss of Bastion of Twilight, none other than the tremendously hilarious Showgirl. I don't know about you, but I think that is one of the most comical guy in the entire game. Right, so our first attempt, we ended up running around the place pretty much not knowing what to do, but showing that we have the ability to learn, we managed to down him on the next attempt without any major incident, or without any. Actually, it was a smooth run the second time. So Loreseekers is now officially a raiding guild because we have managed to clear 1 Cataclysm content raid. So congrats to everyone, and thank you very much for joining. Thursday night, role-playing night. The plan was to head out for Stranglethorn this week, but when the clock had reached 8 o'clock, there were only 2 members online, me and Nikki. So basically I decided we're gonna wait with the Stranglethorn event because we want to get as many people involved as possible. Just heading out with a 2-man crew trying to protect the caravan. Not the brightest idea, so we ended up waiting instead. We were, however, joined by a couple of other members a bit later on in the night, and we decided to head down and check out the celebration that is Brewfest. And I, or rather Fumley, decided that he was going to give you guys the grand tour of the area, showing you all of the different vendors and showing you the different games you can participate in. I don't know about you guys, but Fumley sure enjoyed himself, and in his own opinion he was quite the guide. And that pretty much concludes last week's events. Right, so this week's old school raid is going to be none other than Ulduar. And the reason why we're picking Ulduar is because it was suggested by Obayifa on our forums. Just to prove that we do indeed listen to you guys, and we want you to use the forums more. So who knows, if you want to suggest old school raid that you want to do with us, just go ahead and mention it on the forum in its own thread. And who knows, maybe next week we'll be going through raid suggested by you. Now we are going to go for the Glory of the Ulduar Raider achievement. This means we will need you guys to read up on a few tactics, nothing major, and if you just head over to the thread, I'm gonna link it in the description and in an annotation right here. You can see that Fen gave you guys 2 nice sites you can check out just to see what the different achievements are and possibly some tips on how to do them. So yeah, that was the old school raid night this week. Our weekly raid night is going to be another shot at Bastion of Twilight, just to get everyone familiar with the fight so we can pretty much farm it in the future. And the reason why we're not moving on to, say, Blackwing Descent is because we still need a bit more practice as a guild, guys. Who knows, we might be moving on to Blackwing Descent the following week, but that's to be decided. Anyway, we're hoping to get a full guild group together this time so we can get at least the challenge and hopefully the guild achievement for clearing Bastion of Twilight. Now this week's roleplay events, we do hope to be able to set out to Stranglethorn, provided we have enough members to make it actually worth it and to make it viable to protect an entire caravan of supplies. So we're hoping to get quite the turn up, and if we do, we are going to finally head down to Stranglethorn and set up base camp. And that pretty much concludes all of the events this week. However, we do have some additional news and information for you guys. I have finally managed to get my hold on all of the various epic weapon recipes that you get from the Molten Front dailies, and I can now craft you guys some pretty nice weapons. I've already crafted myself a new tanking sword. Fen has managed to get a new polearm, and so has Eluyen on his druid. So if you guys want me to craft your weapon, just head into the guild roster, check the profession tab, and if I'm not online, you can just click the show offline members and look me up and see what materials you need to gather. The true gold is something we aim to supply. However, that requires all of our alchemists to donate their daily true gold cooldown to the guild. Now we're not gonna ask you to invest in all of the materials yourself, so we have went ahead and provided you with some volatiles and enough pyrite ore to last you quite a long time. So if you just head on over to the guild bank, check the first tab, you should find enough volatiles just to craft you what true gold or two. And then when you have it ready, just put it back in the same tab, and an officer will go ahead and move it to the appropriate tab. We would greatly appreciate it, guys, and every piece of true gold you donate to the guild goes towards getting another member an epic weapon, or an epic piece for that matter. Right, so that pretty much sums it up, guys. I'll see you all in game this week, and don't remember, guys, Loreseekers. don't forget, guys, Loreseekers is all about community.